Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. One of the sort of calling points that the SNP have always had is that Scotland is one of the most plentiful water supplies for the whole of the United Kingdom, and how it supplies certainly a lot of northern England with water. And it's true, Scotland is of course the biggest reservoir, so I presume it's all the rain, but you have all those lochs, all these natural lakes and burns and rivers. And so yes, it is a very, very plentiful water supply. And that makes it rather odd then that at the height of summer, now that we're just moving towards the end of summer, but at the height of summer, Scottish Water was looking to put in a hosepipe ban and restrictions on use, such as cleaning windows and cars and cutting industrial use quite substantially. In a country that always boasts about how much water it has. Seems to be a major problem. Now, why? Nobody can possibly say. Is it because there's massive leakage in the system? Is the system falling down? We know, of course, that the sewage system is in an awful plight, and we've seen how there's been hundreds of thousands of leakages of sewage into rivers, and brooks and burns and directly into the sea and that. And this isn't like a one-off or an accidental thing. It is hundreds of thousands through the year. And so the whole sort of Scottish Water, that's the company, not the water of Scotland. The whole of Scottish Water is struggling with its sewage system. So there are obviously very big sort of implementation problems within the system. But for a country that boasts so much water, to try to impose a hosepipe ban seems astonishing, doesn't it? And we'll take a look at this article, see what's going on, see why it came very, very close to it. Here goes. Now, of course, this isn't anything political. This is just an interest story, I think. So I don't think you can blame the SNP for this one, and I'm not intending to. It does seem to be a sort of systemic problem, though, within Scottish Water, that they've not addressed this problem over the years. And as I say in the opening there, they do have major problems with the sewage system. But it may be that they have problems with the water supply issues as well, which is something that really does need to be taken into consideration, considering how sort of absolutely important water tends to be. But anyway, Scottish Water wanted to prepare water ban orders for Scots amid fears of droughts in one of the wettest parts of the country. Scots could have been subjected to water bans in the summer, as Scottish water bosses wanted to draft up bans if permitted by the Scottish Government. Now, I know it was a warm start to the year, but it soon wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't like last year where we had sort of 40 degrees or whatever, and long-term, really hot, long, dry summer. We had a few weeks at the beginning, and then it was just miserable. We had weeks of rain, didn't we? So it makes you wonder about water levels, that even after all that rain they're still looking at water bans. But anyway, Scottish Water wanted to prepare ban orders for 3 of the country's water supplies after the summer drought meant that water levels dropped massively in parts of Scotland. This could have meant a hosepipe ban for some Scots, along with restrictions on non-essential use of water like cleaning of cars and buildings. To be honest, if you go to the car wash facilities, they recycle about 90% of the water. It's not like using a hosepipe on your own car, which is quite wasteful. But the car washing facilities that you see around, where the mechanised ones, not the hand washers, the mechanised ones, they recycle about 90% of their water. They're actually quite efficient on that. So, you might consider using them. But anyway, the stark warnings came following a very dry start to the summer, which saw one public water supply drop, they say, to alarmingly low levels. In June, 5 areas of the country were put under the highest level warning for water shortages, with the Scottish Environment Protection Agency saying rivers Annan and Nith, the Black Isle and Western Isles had significant water scarcity situation. And it makes you wonder how. I mean, you go a few weeks without rain at the beginning of summer, and they're thinking about this, but you've had wet winters, wet springs all the way through. Where's the water going? Scottish water officials privately admitted that the reduction in liquid at Broadford on the Isle of Skye was alarming, with emergency action taken in June to ensure that homes near there had running water. The dry weather in May and June was described as drier than usual, and that this could become a common thing due to climate change. They have to weasel that in somewhere, don't they? What are they going to do when it pours down next year? Oh, it's climate change or something. It's a load of rubbish. The public body also splashed out almost £300,000 of taxpayers' cash on the advertising campaign to urge Scots not to use much water due to the drought. About 290,000 was splashed out, boom boom, on TV, radio and digital ads over the summer. Please don't waste water. That should be the standard thing anyway, don't waste water. Now, in documents seen by the Scottish Daily Express, we could reveal that the public body wanted to draft 3 water shortage orders for 3 unnamed water supplies amid fears that the reservoirs could drop to dangerously low levels. Officials wrote in June, at present, and then something redacted, that would be the place, the location, redacted, is projected to drop emergency storage levels in autumn 2023, with the risk of supplies extending into 2024. I think with all the rain we've had in the latter part of the summer when it was just miserable, that should have sort of pushed up the levels significantly, I would have imagined. Although an additional option and then another place that's been redacted, is currently being assessed, it is recommended that the preparations are made for a water shortage order at this stage. Now, they keep talking about this. Where is the water going? Because you have plenty of water at the start of the year. Okay, you have a few weeks of warm, dry weather, and yes, water is going to be used without being replenished, but surely not that much water. And therefore, the water must be being lost between the reservoirs and the taps at home, and therefore it strikes you as broken pipes, transportation issues, things like that. There are major problems, and so I would think it needs an infrastructure update, and that's probably going to be what half the water loss is. Certainly I remember a few years ago, I think it was Anglia Water, and they said that they lost over 50% of their water due to leaks, and they were forced by government to fix them, and even after fixing them they're still losing about 20% to leaks. And so it is an infrastructure problem, not a usage problem, I think. Anyway, the briefing was prepared for ministers who were concerned about the dry weather across the country, and it takes 6 weeks for WSOs to be granted by the government, and they are used to safeguard and restore water storage levels over time, reducing the risk of requiring emergency WSOs at a later date. Yeah, but thankfully, after 6 weeks, the skies opened, and the rain, it came tumbling down by the bucket load. And so I think if they're up to date and that they've got this reserve, now I think is the time, going into this period of time where there's going to be a lower usage, that people in Scottish Water need to start looking at infrastructure and updating it and fixing all the goddamn leaks, because that is undoubtedly where the problems are. And I was just saying there what non-essential uses: washing cars, buildings, irrigation of lawns, operating decorative fountains and pools. I would suggest operating decorative fountains and pools isn't an issue because the water comes out and goes back in. And yes, you will get some evaporation, but not that much. Running partial loads in washing machines and dishwashers. How can they police these things? How can they possibly police these things? It's ridiculous, isn't it? Operating non-essential ice machines and serving tap water at eating establishments unless requested. Tap water is easier to supply than bottled water because that's industrial. So give them tap water rather than bottled water. And non-essential ice machines. Surely all machines that make ice are essential. Otherwise you wouldn't need them. It's a very odd thing. And again, how do you police that? In Scotland, a request for a water shortage order needed for a hosepipe ban has to be approved by a Scottish Government minister, though no such application has been made by Scottish Water. And the last time an order was granted was 1995, almost 30 years ago. And that alone tells you what Scottish weather is like. So this really isn't, I think, a shortage of supply. I think it's undoubtedly an infrastructure issue, and Scottish Water needs to get on it, spend the money, fix the leaks, and not ever have this problem again. You cannot sit there and boasting about having the biggest water supply in Britain and then imposing hosepipe bans where places that don't have that, surfeit of water, don't have the hosepipe bans. East Anglia, the driest part of Britain, didn't have a hosepipe ban. Very weird, isn't it? Anyway, told you it was a non-political, but it is an interesting story that this is there, and it is something I think that you just need to be aware of and just be mindful of. Certainly don't waste water. Nobody suggests you should, But just be mindful that the issue here isn't supply. I think it's transportation. I think it's leakage. Up to Scottish Water now, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for listening for this one. I'll come up and we'll round this one off. Now, I started light on that that sort of non-political piece because I've been waiting for a particular story to come in. And just at the end of this, it has come in. And so I'm going to be cutting to my next story, which I wanted to do straight away, which is about a sentencing announcement, which is why this one was just a little fluff piece. I didn't want to go from heavy politics to then a very serious story indeed. So I thought to do this non-political one. But, the principle is you don't waste water anyway. But it is a case of, this is an infrastructure from Scottish Water. And if Scottish Water, which is a privatised industry, and if they cannot sort their own act out, then I think this is the one case where genuinely it needs to be put back into public ownership, sort of nationalised again. Because water, of course, is so absolutely necessary for life. And I think it's wrong that a private industry, I've always said this, that a private industry shouldn't make a profit on such a thing as water, and it should be owned by the people. And so I think I think it'd be only right and fair if Scottish Water aren't capable of fixing the pipes, that it's taken back into public ownership, and then that it is fixed. The government then take it over and do put in a series of maintenance schedules to get it fixed over time. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video. It's going to be one about that sentencing, which we'll deal with. It's quite a serious incident that I wanted to highlight because I've seen what the guy's been given. I don't think it's going to be long enough, but we'll have a look at that next time. Anyway, do please hit the like button. If you like this video, share it, and definitely subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, don't waste water, guys.